there's a lot of consequences to this.
Absolutely.
So,
I just want to let people know, we joke around and we always use the metaphor, at the beginning of our show, sit back, kick off your shoes and stuff. It's because, Monday's usually a hard day for a lot of people. For some people, it's a hustle Monday. So it goes either or. And it's just the beginning of the week, kick up your shoes and relax and stuff. But, it's for you to be at home relaxing. And, you don't have to you can have a glass of water or a coffee or tea or whatever it is that's your thing. That's all we're asking you to do. So don't take it the wrong way. When we use the expression, grab your glass of wine, but we also want everybody to know that we're really concerned about everybody and we want you to be safe. We want you to live a full life and enjoy life at the same time, enjoy it. Enjoy what this earth has to offer. Enjoy what God created.
Absolutely, because I just wanted to share with the listeners that I was an example that I got hit many years ago with a drunk driver, right? So, and he had a big truck, and we were at a full stop, and he moved like 4 or 5 cars in front of us.
Wow!
And he came out, and he said he was picking up his daughter at daycare. I'm like, daycare? It's like 8:30 at night. Right? It's like, and you can smell the alcohol, and he got arrested. Apparently, that was the second time that happened. So you guys got to be careful out there, right? So be more responsible.
Yeah, they've gotten more strict over it too. They've gotten really more strict, and it's understandable. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and that's the way it is, and we're all here. We all have a right to be here, and we all need to be responsible and protect each other. And if somebody's not thinking clearly, it is your responsibility as a human being to stop them. Even if you don't know the person and they've been drinking and you see them getting up and going to drive, you stop them by any means necessary. I'll tell you, you stop them whether you're saving a life or you're saving somebody else's life. You stop them whether they want to fight you if they don't want to listen to you. That talk to their friends if they're with somebody, talk to the owner of the bar, talk to the bartender. And in worst case scenario, if you have to save them, call 911.
Absolutely. And
you know what I mean?
And that's why our show is called Empowering Your Future, right? So you're here to empower them to do the right thing.
Absolutely. So, we have our moments in life. We're all human at the end of the day. None of us are perfect, but, there's friends and people that have experienced different things. And, John, you're right on the opposite end of it, where you were one that was in an accident. And, thank God everything's great and you're alive today. And I'm so happy that you are. And
thanks.
We're in a position that, and we're awesome friends too. It's amazing. And, it's sad that, we don't get to realize that a split second can change your life.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
I know for myself, I've made a lot of stupid mistakes. I'm human at the end of the day, but I surely don't ever want to hold a life over my head. You know what I mean? Because I made the stupidest mistake of my life. I can't take it back.
Yes, absolutely.
When it affects somebody else's quality of life and your quality of life, there's an issue. And for anybody that's out there that is listening, if you do have a problem with alcohol, please get some help.
Yeah, get some help. I mean, when you're depressed, it's not an answer. Alcohol would just brings you down, It's like a drug. The same thing.
Yep. Well, what it is at the end of the day, regardless of what the thing is, seeing as you brought that up, regardless of what your method is, whether it be alcohol or drugs or whatever, really all you're trying to do is mask the pain and you're trying to put a Band-Aid over it and you're not dealing with what's really going on. So whatever you're feeling, because you don't know how to deal with your feelings and you don't know how to manage your feelings, or you never were taught how to do that, you know what I mean? Depending on the generation you're from, the result ends up being that you end up turning to a substance to mask what's really going on because you just don't know how to deal with it, and it's too much. It's overpowering. It's, it's overwhelming for anybody. And there's other people that unfortunately that is what they grew up with in life. whether it be their family, their parents, or whatever, they grew up with an alcoholic person. And I'll tell you, that affects anybody. And that child or that person is going to end up growing up to either, be an alcoholic themselves and just follow in the same footsteps, like it's hereditary, or they're going to turn around and be the opposite. Right? So I just want people to know that if you're struggling with any type of anything, at the end of the day, you're not alone. You are human. It's okay, but there is help. And if you need help, please reach out to somebody. Contact me or reach out to somebody and get the help that you need, because that's not the answer. And there is a way out.
That's right.
There is a way out. And for those of you that are feeling a little bit depressed, as you mentioned depression, John, for those of you that are feeling depressed, what I can honestly say to you, a tip that I can give you today is what we mentioned a couple of weeks ago when we talked about your thoughts. Control your thoughts. When your thoughts are trailing, depression has your thoughts in a loop of negativity, a loop of sorrow, a loop of sadness. A loop is just a loop that keeps going around in circles, and you don't feel like there's a way out. And what you need to do is just press the stop button and just stop the loop and learn to refocus your thoughts and refocus your attention on what you're thinking about. And I know it's easier said than done, and I know it's hard. So again, if you need help doing that, please reach out to somebody who knows how to do that can help you through it.
Yeah, it's supposed be around people that really that are good to you, that can influence you in a positive way, so in a supportive group. And I just wanted to share with our listeners, like today, Jen, I went to Starbucks today around my area. So I'm sitting down there. I meet this couple. They must be at least almost in their 70s.
Right.
Lovely couple, and and they were just telling me they're actually from my hometown, Winnipeg. It was just, coincidence or what.
All the way out here in Little Oakville.
Yes.
A long way from home.
So she happens to be a retired teacher.
Oh, wow.
So she was sharing with me how, background, she was teaching back in the late 70s and 80s that, we didn't have any cell phones. We didn't have so much technology, right? And he was going back to, interacting, and she was just made me more aware. And when I was at Starbucks, and she was sharing with me about, look at everybody around us now. Everybody's on their technology. They're talking to each other. They're having dinner. They went out for dinner, but they're watching couples and families just on their cell phones, on their iPod, and there's no real interaction. Everybody's glued to their phone, right? And she was even sharing with me about even the teachings now. We do have to go with technology, but the interaction is not there anymore. And she's volunteering once a week to several schools and daycares, and just spending time with new teachers and students about how to really interact and just getting to know them. And I thought it was great because she was just sharing it with me. And
kids need to know. Kids nowadays, the younger generation needs to learn how to be sociable. And I don't mean sociable on social media, but actually face-to-face sociable. It's like nobody knows how to interact with each other. They don't know what to do with each other. It's astonishing. Right. It really is. It's astonishing. You go out in the younger generation, like they could sit beside each other and they're both on their phones.
Oh, yeah, I see that everywhere.
You can't have a conversation. Like, you can't even look at each other. Like, seriously? So what kind of relationship is that? I'm not getting it. even at some restaurants or anywhere you go, they're always on their phone, or they don't know how to interact. And, I look at people all the time, like when they're approaching me and I see them, I look at them straight in the eye and I smile, right? It's like that old tradition, interacting, being friendly. It's just not there anymore, and that's something that's we're losing because all this technology is everywhere, But that's time. That's the future, right? Everyone's, doing their own thing. And that's why I think
some of the meetup groups or events out there that you could really interact with, social networking groups. It's great. It's a good time to put your phone away and just go back to the old fashioned interacting, right?
Yeah. And the holidays are coming, and for any of those grouches out there or bah humbugs when it comes to Christmas, I once used to be one a couple of years back. I went through my different phases, and I'll tell you, the Christmas spirit needs to be reborn again. It's not one. It may not be once what it was. Like when I go out in certain places, I don't feel what I used to feel when I was younger. And I was sitting down and I was trying to analyze, like, okay, so what's missing? Is it just me? Like, what's really going on? I know times have changed. Yes, families and stuff like that celebrate, but I mean, there used to be this Christmas spirit. You could feel it in the air. You could see it in people's faces. You know what I mean? It was just it was magic. It was a magic that just was out there, and you got to see the magic again,
You're so right. You got to see the magic.
You got to see the magic, because you know what? I stopped seeing the magic. I guess I stopped believing, as they say in all the movies. I stopped believing at one point, and when you start believing again, I tell you, there's a whole lot of magic when it comes to Christmas. So, for anybody that's having a hard time, if you're alone or that, go out and help somebody else. Even if you're not feeling up to yourself for that, go out and pay it forward to somebody else. It'll take your mind off of your own things, and there's always somebody out there who may be worse off than you.
Yeah, absolutely right. And, there's quite a number of places in Toronto, Oakville, Mississauga, like anywhere right now that you can volunteer Christmas Eve or a few days before Christmas for a soup kitchen, right?
Yep.
And I used to help out in the Ladybug Foundation in Winnipeg, but there's quite a number here. There's a lot of lonely people in Toronto and homeless people that, you could let them know that they can have a nice meal, warm meal, like a couple of places or a couple of churches here, even here in Oakville, the Kerr Ministry, that they serve the homeless on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of different things that happen. And you know what? I'm thinking, John, I don't want to put it out on the radio just yet, but I have a couple of thoughts that are coming to me based on this conversation. And I just want to let our listeners know, me and John are going to do some creative flow. And we're going to come up with something. And I think I've got something. We're going to do something for the holidays. And we'd love for all of you to participate. You can participate with us or participate in your own communities. But I think there's something that's really important. And, Christmas is a big time for some people. Some people, Thanksgiving is bigger, but, seeing as our Thanksgiving passed a while ago, let's do something this year for the holidays and to people that really, really need it. I don't know how well the weather is, but apparently we're supposed to have a bad winter. I personally don't believe it, or I refuse to believe it. Maybe I'm in denial. That's okay. But but I will not believe it. And if we do have a cold winter, there's a lot of people that are homeless.
Yeah, just so many things that you could do. I'm already starting to ask some of my friends and family. There's quite a number of people here. We're going to be donating some clothes, old clothes, winter clothes that many people that can't afford to buy new ones.
Yep.
So that's one good way. Or what you could also do is, like, for some of our listeners out there, is, even pack a lunch, like give it to somebody on a homeless person on a streetcar, or
if you guys have old winter boots and jackets or scarves or anything like that, and go out into your community, go out into your areas and hand it to people that really don't have, that are living on the streets. Because as much as there's a lot of help out there, when it gets cold, especially different parts of Canada, it gets really cold, and everybody has a story. There's no judgment, no passing judgment, no questions asked. Just give the gift of giving.
And absolutely make another person happy. And just one more thing to share with our listeners. Like, I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I was trying to call her, and she said, "Oh, it's a little busy. I can get a hold of her."